All right. Welcome back to the Fantasy Football School. Today's class, we're going to talk about 5 wide receivers ready to break out due to opportunity, talent, and most importantly, wide open wide receiver room. And let's go. Go with number 5 here. We got Khalil Shakir of the Buffalo Bills. So the Bills didn't really add anyone that could challenge Shakir in his slot role. They did add Keon Coleman. They did add Chase Claypool. I guess you could theoretically say Curtis Samuel, but Curtis Samuel could play outside also. And essentially, their wide receiver room is pretty open. Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel, Chase Claypool, then Khalil Shakir. But Shakir's the one with the most trust from Josh Allen right now. He's literally the only receiver left from last year. They lost, what's his name, Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs. And that's pretty much it. Also, Kincaid's also projected to break out because he is in the second year of the system. Josh Allen knows him, and he was used in the slot a lot also. But at the end of the day, someone's still got to play wide receiver, and Shakir has the most experience in that room at the moment. And then moving on to number 4, we got Darnell Mooney moving on to a new team, to the Atlanta Falcons. Essentially, what's his name? Kirk Cousins' new Jordan Addison. He's like the deep threat on that team right now. They have Drake London, the ex-receiver, Kyle Pitts, tight end that might play slot. They did add Rondale Moore, Bijan in the backfield. But essentially, they don't have a deep threat. And what's his name? Kirk Cousins normally utilizes that position with Jordan Addison, the other dude that went to the Patriots. What's his name? Anyways, moving on to number 3, we got Wan'Dale Robinson, who was essentially the wide receiver 1 last year for the Giants. Should slot into wide receiver 2, which is a perfect role for him. He's not supposed to be the number 1 receiving in any group, but he essentially got a lot of targets, and they utilized him in a way that maximized his skills. But with Malik Neighbors available, who should get a lot of, attention from defenses, Wan'Dale Robinson should feast. Hopefully stays healthy. Then they still got Jalen Hyatt outside, who's essentially just a jogging merchant at this point. Like, that was a disappointing rookie year. Hopefully he improves, but I'm not gonna put any money on it. I hope he does, for the sake of the Giants improving. But anyways, Wan'Dale, he had a lot of targets. He should continue, but he will not be the main focal point to this offense. They did lose Saquon Barkley, and they signed a couple of mid running backs. They got Devin Singletary, and they did sign Tyron Tracy, who's a pretty good receiving back and a former receiver. But like I said, Wan'Dale should be the number 2. They're also losing Darren Waller to potential retirement, allegedly, but still hasn't been confirmed. But it looks like it's 90% gonna happen based on all the reports. And then moving on to number 2 breakout candidate here, we got Rashid Shaheed for the New Orleans Saints, who should smash, because he will be the not number one, but opposite of Chris Olave and a full-time starter on the outside. I think so. They got A.T. Perry, who showed some flashes, but I don't think he's an every down kind of receiver. Shaheed is more explosive. He has more, trust in the offense. Derek Carr. And they didn't really sign anyone. They did draft a dude in the 5th round. They did sign a couple veterans who's essentially just 4th receiver at best. So expect Rashid Shaheed to have another, breakout season. Last year he kind of broke out, but not to the point where everybody knows his name. But this year, being the number 2 option, he should potentially be a fantasy relevant player. And finally, number 1 receiver, we got the most breakout I'm expecting is Jameson Williams from the Lions. Just like everybody on this team, Lions didn't add anybody to compete with him. He should be the the de facto outside receiver. They have Amon-Ra on the slot, who sometimes play outside. Laporta, pretty good tight end. Jahmyr Gibbs, pretty elite receiving back, but they still don't have that guy to take the top off. And he did show some flashes last year, and with a full training camp and off season, and hopefully he doesn't get caught gambling again, or he should stop gambling. He should be the receiver that they drafted, I think 12th overall 2 years ago. And I'm expecting big things, especially with Jared Goff, being signed to a multi-year contract. They will build that rapport, and I'm expecting at least 100 targets, probably more, depending on how they want to, spread the offense around this time, because a lot of defense going to focus on the other better players, at least in their careers, and Jameson should get a lot of one-on-ones, and in turn should be a pretty good breakout in fantasy and real football. So keep an eye on these 5 receivers in your upcoming redraft, dynasty startups, or just if you got some 3rd round picks that you want to burn and need some depth for the flex spots. These are pretty good receivers to add on to. So I'll do a 5 breakout running backs next. So I'll see you on that one. Peace.